Forgot. Yeah,
That's
I hope your
okay.
mum wasn't offended by them.
No, she doesn't care, man. She makes like the best jokes. It's pretty funny, actually. Damn, this thing better not do this the whole time, man. I want to get that logo right. Yeah, you better stay.
Actually, you should let
Every
Matt.
5 minutes I'll just move and you can cut me out doing that.
Yeah, so good.
You should let Matt or Sean know about that intimacy coordinator job.
Are those two recording?
Yeah, they're recording, so we'll just start recording these because I can get it in sync after. Yeah, I'll just get the audio in sync later.
Cool.
Mrs. Moller, my general media teacher
Hello.
this year. Mr. August, Mr. S. August, cert media teacher this year. He's unfortunately leaving.
Let's all cry together at once.
F in the chat for Mr. August. So, one question I got.
Hold on, can you cry, please?
Mate, on cue.
Can you pretend to cry? Do it like there we go.
This is Pochi's podcast. So, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to start ladies first. Mrs. Moller, what made you want to become a media teacher?
Well, it's funny. I've always wanted to become an art teacher because I really love to draw and paint and help others, see that they can easily draw and paint. And I just somehow fell into this job by accident.
But, like, in saying that, do you see media as, like, an inferior substitute to art? Or do you now appreciate media more? Or...
Actually, I do appreciate media more because I feel like there's so many possibilities. Not only that, I feel like I'm there as a stepping stone to help you guys evolve with technology.
Yeah. Well, like,
Sure.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably would do art, but I've got jazz hands. So, because I can't art, that's why I do photography.
Yeah,
I'm bad at art too.
The other sad thing about art in school is the curriculum. It's not just the fun stuff, and I think that's what kind of annoys kids.
Yeah.
However, with media, you can have a lot more fun. Even the theory work that we have to do, I can make that fun by saying you can video yourself.
I see. School kills creativity.
So what makes the visual art theory boring? Is it because they have to, what's the difference between the media
It's
and
a lot more rigorous in terms of, your art has to have all these design elements and principles. This is the skill level you need to be at. It's not like you can just create whatever you feel like.
Yeah,
Yes,
in media there's a lot more...
Yeah, a bit more open than that. I mean,
In your
sure, in some ways some kids can work around it, but others can't. You know what I mean? They're like, there's a certain theme. Here's an artist you've got to be influenced by.
Okay, I
You've got to learn
understand.
about the artist. Got to do these skills. You got to, yeah.
So you mean, let's say you're doing Van Gogh, but let's say I'm not a fan of Van Gogh and I'm in the art class and I'm not good at that type of art, but I've got to do that for a project.
Yeah.
I get you.
I can understand what you're saying, where you're coming from, for sure.
Media does have a ton of, like, creative control.
Mm.
I'd argue that I probably wasn't given enough of a leash last year, like some of the stuff I was making.
Was this in Cambout?
General media.
General media.
This year?
Yeah, this class.
Oh,
like,
this
the
year.
music video was a bit... Towards the end, it got a bit too explicit. Like, the ending was just...
But you know what, mate? You take risks and you make your mistakes at school. So when you go out into the real world, you're able to kill it.
Yeah.
You make all your mistakes here.
So, anyway, Mr. August, what made you want to become a media teacher?
Oh, mate, let me start by saying I loved high school. High school was lit. It was litty.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie. I was similar to you in a way, Darcy, where I loved coming to see my friends. I was there every day. I never wagged class, any of that stuff. I always loved media because it allowed me to be creative and use technology at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So being creative, and I love just using computers and editing.
No, that's fair.
The combination where I was never really good at art because I used jazz hands and I wasn't using technology. So I became disinterested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't as talented as other people. And, this is a flaw I have. If I can't be the best at it, I give up. And it's something that I'm working on. But if I can't be the best at it, I just give up.
I kind of get where you're coming from. Like, with art, I can make a better Photoshop thing than I can
Exactly.
actual art. Like, I just find technology to be so much more It's more forgiving than normal art per se.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because when I went to school, this makes me sound like a dinosaur.
Back in Diggity 1.
We
Titanic
we
sunk.
just started to have the technology. I did media too, but we didn't have computers to edit with. We had the old Casablanca machines.
Wasn't the printer just came out?
Actually,
The fax machine.
no, I actually did have a printer with the holes.
Hey, for you young people out there, you know what a fax machine is? Neither do I.
Oh yeah, so you had fax machines, but no, I actually had rolls of paper that were like perforated, and they would just print and print and print. That's how old.
You see,
YouTube didn't exist.
We
You
just
couldn't watch
started,
this back
we
in the
started
day.
having
could
Adobe
you live?
Photoshop in school. We had Corel
Oh,
Paint.
you did? You had Photoshop in school?
But it wasn't as
Paint.
high tech as what we've got now. Like this is why I was so into the art because I
Oh.
was more into the physical. I could do that more easily than using the technology. It was just too hard basket, but I worked through it.
I love that
know?
you said that. Let me ask, if you were a student back in Miss Moller's day, it sounds like, you know what I'm saying, and there weren't as many creative subjects, what do you think you'd be doing? What subjects would you be taking? Because right now you're taking all creative subjects basically except English.
yeah, pretty much.
What would you be doing? Maybe
Actually, to be fair, we had a lot of creative subjects. Our
You did?
we had photography. It wasn't digital. It was black room.
Oh, the
dark
film,
room.
yeah.
Yes, so that was really
Mate.
fun. We
to
had
be honest-
tech drawing. We had all these cool home activities and all kinds of graphic drawing.
So you did have some subjects.
Even though I kind of down talk my skill at art, I do have an appreciation for it. You know, the amount of creativity, the amount of new concepts I've seen students come up with, even some of the stuff I came up with in year 10, working around my things. So I probably would do art if I were, say, born at an earlier time, and I'd probably just do art and photography, and that's it, and just find my way into film some other way.
You know, photography back then, they were using the dark room. You had to use chemicals to develop all the photos,
We
and
just
you'd have
started
to hang it up on
having
a washing
digital
line,
cameras.
and it would take you hours to develop film roll. Now it's just
Well, I want to say hours. Yes, we did spend a whole class time developing film, but it was fun. I mean, at that same time, we had digital cameras, but that took forever to kind of take that, upload. Computers was just so slow, and you could only take maybe 10 photos. Same with the camera, with the SLRs, just 10 photos, and then we just develop them.
So when you were in year 11, what year was it?
2002.
You were in year 11 when I was born. What? Sorry, miss, you don't seem that old. I'm just
She doesn't. She doesn't. You honestly don't.
No, like I thought you would have graduated year 11 like 2005 max. You know, probably 2010. But
Mine was 2008.
damn, you don't even see that.
I'm old. I turned 27 about a month ago.
Yo, you
and
told my big
And I
brother.
tell you, as soon as I turned 27, my knees started to shake.
Yeah.
I could feel my I could literally feel my healthcare raise, the prices raise. I felt it. I was like, oh, what was that? I think that's a healthcare raise.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm young, I'm athletic, and I'm in my prime. So like, I'm gonna appreciate this time.
You
while
should
it's
be
gonna hit.
donating your blood.
I should be
And your
donating
kidneys.
my kidneys.
We be watching you.
The new iPhone 11's out.
I wish you just
Oh, he's got some good eyes.
Yeah, let's
I
kidnap-
need those
I
eyeballs.
need them too. I really need them more than you. We can find them.
Oh.
Okay.
Darcy, do you, you know, the other day I saw you at school and there were a couple of ladies fighting for your affection. And you were just keeping it cool and you were laughing.
Yeah.
What happened with those girls? I hope you don't mind me asking.
I think they're just a bit of a meme, but if it helps me get a womanizer sort of image and like boost my ego, then I'm all for it.
Tell me something. Tell me something. You tell me if I'm completely wrong, but you know, if a woman sees another woman like a man, does she kind of get interested because she's like, why does she like that dude? Why does?
Yeah,
'cause that's worse.
that actually does happen. Like even women get interested in married men, like you know those actors like Brad Pitt. Because if he was single, I mean, yeah, sure. Actually,
He's rich and famous and good looking as well.
Yeah, so
And I'm none of those things.
I'm gonna just warn you that those girls, there's nothing actually going on there.
Sure does.
Sure, yes.
I got
Even
I got my eyes on someone, but it's not them. Rip.
But as a female, if you see a man that other women want, is that more attractive to you?
It just means that they must be more approachable because you can have a good-looking guy, but nobody's interested, and then you've got to figure out why.
What?
Is
So
there something wrong with
Is he
him?
a serial killer?
I'm not the most
Yeah,
like.
is he an a-hole?
I'm not the most attractive young chap, but the fact that 3 women, even though they're memeing, like the fact that 3 women are fighting over my affection, are you saying that might boost my status a bit?
It may.
Yes,
I think there's a higher
it's a good
chance.
help.
Not all. It might not be for every woman.
Nah.
Yeah.
But for some women, I feel like through my career,
Korea.
my
So you got
male
paid.
career,
You got paid to.
no, just 27 years of being a male. I have noticed that not all the time, sometimes that if other women want your attention, other women go, well, why is that? Maybe I'll go find out.
You see, like, low-key, like, I'm talking to a girl, and it's not one of them girls. I keep her completely separate. Like, I've not told her about that. I'm like, no. And she doesn't have socials, so she can't check my Instagram. She saw those comments.
So she's a good girl.
She can't get angry at you.
Yeah, she doesn't have socials, and I'm so thankful, man. I actually had to get a number. It was crazy. It was nice, though. It felt like I grew up in the 2000s, you know?
You know what? I'm a 27-year-old male, and Darcy, you know, we're not at school, so I can share this with you. But you know, I'm 27, and I have commitment issues. I sure do. I have a lot of commitment issues. And I tell you
Really?
what, I
It's
do.
funny because you've been working for quite a while at the same school for a while, so you
Yeah,
must
see,
have
he's
some...
got to
No,
get
no.
out now before he
But,
gets
no,
to
no,
me.
I'll tell you
Oh.
what. When it professionally, financially, no issues. But when it comes to a life partner, I get scared. Let me tell you why. Divorce rate,
Yes.
Tinder, and Instagram. Like, there's so many options these days, and I'm scared of. I don't think kids are dumb. Kids see the divorce rate, and they go, "I don't want anything to do with that," so they don't want to do it. And you're married,
Yes.
obviously, and you've been married for a very long time. Do you have any opinions on it?
It's funny you say that because I just recently met an old friend of ours, Gary.
Gaza.
He was the marriage celebrant for my husband and my wedding, and he just recently came out of a divorce, and he says he's got a girlfriend and he's planning on marrying her. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Again?
Hold on, we want prenup. We want prenup.
Sorry that you need to have, because when you leave,
Yeah.
you don't leave your have.
And I was thinking, why would you put yourself through it? I mean, I'm married now, but I see that marriage, this whole marriage thing, this certificate, it doesn't really mean anything.
And the whole-
At the end of the day, you're together, you're living. There's no change.
And this whole expectation of, oh, you need to get married. Well, to put it more similar to my age, this whole expectation of, oh, you need a girlfriend at this age. You know, you're a teenager,
No.
you're in your prime. It's like, no, I don't need one. If I want one, I'll go for it. If not, I won't.
Look, I never had any boyfriends back in high school at all. I just focused on my studies. I didn't get my first boyfriend until I was about 19 in university.
Let me tell you something. When I was, sorry to interrupt, when I was your age, I was getting friend zoned for like 2 years. Every time I liked a girl, I made the mistake of wanting to hear all their problems, and I got friend zoned. Like, I'm sorry, you can have friends, that's cool, but if you really want to have a girlfriend, you want to get a romance going, you can't talk about the other guys that she's talking to, because then you become a friend. And that was my mistake. So, yeah, sorry, there's a bit of...
Low key, like stuff, for example, I think you should do. Let's say you're talking to a girl in exams. Give her support before the day of exams, you know. That's proper stuff. Ask her out to lunch.
Just don't talk about other guys that she's talking to.
And
And
don't-
don't talk
friends
about your
with-
girl problems either. And that victimizing, saying like, oh, I'm going to kill myself if you don't be with me. Don't be a
Oh,
pussy.
that's toxic.
So-
yes.
That's so toxic, and that happens too much.
It turns people off. Tears turn people off.
How did you know your husband was the one?
Ooh.
Well, that's right. I feel comfortable. Like, if I could just get around and just be who I am without pretending to be anything else. You know, some girls, when they first go out, they always have to pretend to be always, have the makeup on.
Cake face, all the salad.
and really
Yeah.
well dressed all the time. I couldn't handle that pressure, so I just,
And he was comfortable with that.
yeah. I scratch my butt in front of him, like, scratch my nose,
Wet
get my
farts.
nose, yeah.
No, but you see,
I
like,
burp.
love isn't like, oh, she's really attractive. Don't get me wrong, that probably has some bit to do with it. But it's more like you have a conversation with them, you just feel...
For
Yeah.
sure. And I feel like
I feel
if
something.
I'm only scared because I haven't met the right one. Like, I think as soon as I meet the right one, I'll be like, I want to get married. But I haven't met that girl, so every girl I meet, I self-sabotage. I don't even know I'm ruining relationships. I distance myself from women. I'm just like, no. Like, the thought of it. And also, I've never seen one successful marriage ever.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something else. Never seen something.
And just like students in class, they've got to visualize success. They've got to know what success looks like. Role models. All kids need role models. I feel like the same applies with marriage. If you see if your parents are successful, or you see a successful marriage, or you see successful marriages around you, you're more likely to get married.
At the same time, yes, seeing is helping you learn, but you're going to evolve that idea and make it your own.
True. Yep.
You know, we will look at music videos. We see it, we learn from it, but then
Yep.
we've got to evolve, make our own.
Like, you're completely right. One day, I can't wait to have kids. Kids don't scare me. I love kids. I'm gonna have a little brown Mr. A. I'd be like,
Carry him
teaching
around.
dudes, man. That doesn't scare me. What scares me is being in a committed, long-term. I feel like it's a trap. Like, it's a bad attitude.
No offense. I mean, I can't relate to the same level of commitment that you want, but I kind of get your fear of commitment because, you know, like, I've thought about a relationship and then I thought, but, you know, then I've got to give up all my female friends and I've got to give up, like...
No,
But it's a negative way of thinking.
That's not
Like,
true. If you find the right
You're
girl,
right.
she will understand you, that you have to have
But
these
I'm
friends.
just so damn, like, scared in that because I've never been, like, a proper one.
I'm
you know?
like you, Darcy, and Miss Moller's completely right. When I meet the right girl, I won't have any of these worries. And I think as long as I do, then
Then
if
there's
something doesn't
something
feel right,
But I don't know, like,
Go with the
these,
energy.
these, at the same time, though, fear is kind of natural, so, like, it's also whether you're willing to overcome it and, like, be like, you know what, I'm going to just accept my fear and I'm going to go for it.
That's true.
and I refuse, you're completely right, I refuse to settle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I refuse to feel like... I refuse to live with anxiety going, oh, no, I deserve to be happy.
Like, you have
I
an
live life.
obligation to
Yes.
stay home when you want to go out or
And
something.
I'm not going to ruin her life by not being 100% in that relationship. So, if I break up with a girl, I'm doing you a favour too. It might hurt in the short term, but in the long term, you're doing both yourselves a favour.
I ain't even gonna lie, right? One of the problems I've had, and I've been friend zoned before as well, so don't worry, you ain't the only one.
It hurts, like when you get punched in the...
It does. But I'm not gonna lie, some of the girls who friend zoned me were really good friends today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like friend zone, except we're actual friends still. So
Yeah.
they're awesome girls.
But now you know they weren't right for you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I still hang out with them. They're
Yeah.
still good friends of mine.
That's it.
And
Because they deserve to be happy too.
exactly.
That's true.
And it's okay if they don't want you.
Because could you imagine if you went out with them, had a relationship, and then broke up with them, you wouldn't have these friends.
Exactly.
Exactly. So it's good. Like short term,
It's a really good
might
point.
hurt, but long term, I think getting friend zoned is a really good thing as long as the girl's nice and she does genuinely mean like just friends.
If I'm in a club, right,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
and I see a
Pop 'em
couple
all, go on.
baddies, if I see a couple things, right, if she rejects me, I do not get offended. Number one, there could be a lot of reasons. Number one, she might be just having a girl's night. She might just be having a girl's night.
So I'm just gonna have to leave you there. I have my meeting. Sorry, I
So
wish
it's
I
alright,
could
I'm
stay.
so-
Anyway, anyway.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have a good one, miss. Good talk. Thank you for coming on Poach's podcast.
Hey, don't get divorced. Um, so she might be just having she might just having a girls' night,
Yeah.
or she might have just broken up with her boyfriend. That might have nothing to do with you as a person, and she doesn't even know you. And also, persistence is the key, fellas. Always be nice about it and consensual, the Me Too movement. But it just takes one girl out of 100 to say yes, and you might have met the love of your life.
This is a really good point. And like, how do I put it? Right at my age, I'm not looking for like my life partner. I'm just looking. And if I do get in a relationship, I don't want to be 100% committed. I understand they probably got things to do, classes, whatnot. I got my things to do. They got their career they want to do. I got my career I want to do. So I'd understand if, like, for a week I've got to take a backseat and just not message.
You know what I feel? I feel like you, Darcy. I feel like you're going to be so career focused in the sense of trying to do something with your life that you'll have to find a woman who's willing to accept your ambition, who's willing to support you with your ambition. Because I've dated girls before who have not been in my ambition, who have not supported me moving to Kalgoorlie or being a teacher, and have left because of that.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, it's gonna take a while, maybe. But
Like, in my opinion, love is more than just a marriage. Should be more than just love. It's almost like a business partnership. You both got to be able to communicate with each other. You both got to be able to be mature with handling your finances. Is someone going to be a good? Are you going to be good parents together?
I know what you mean, but like, I'm not gonna lie, that's my biggest fear, having a kid.
Really,
Yeah. I when you ask me,
baby
that
Darcy.
question, I was a cute kid. But when you asked me that this one time in cert, you were like, Darcy, what if you had a kid at this age? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I was actually shaking when I answered you. Because I mean, like, my biggest like fear in life used to be failing myself.
Yeah.
But now it's like having a kid and failing that kid.
Oh, for sure.
Do you know what I mean?
And you know what, Darcy? I've never met my dad before, and I think I've told you this, but
yeah.
you know, he was married to my mum. Within 3 years, it was done. I was 3 years when I came here. I'm from Seychelles. But if he hadn't, you know, he did the dirty on my mum. If he hadn't done that, I wouldn't have come to Australia.
You see, no matter like how scared I am, sir, I will never be a deadbeat.
I like that.
I'm not going to succumb to the fear or whatnot.
Well, that's the same thing. Like, I'll never not be there for my kids because my dad wasn't there. I understand what it's like to not have a dad, so I'll never not do that to a child.
I'm not going to lie, my dad isn't a deadbeat. He's not the best father, but he's not a deadbeat, and he's been there for me, he's cared for me, he's supported me. So yeah, I guess that's going to have to be it.
I'm so sorry, Darcy. That was a great chat.
Yeah, it was a great chat.
People, audience, very nice to meet you. My name's Mr. Shane August. Follow my Instagram.
Yeah.
Shane_August.
Also, keep the SoundClouds up there.
Yeah.
Calm down, son. Calm down.
All right, buddy. I'm going to. You can stay here for all. You're going to upload and things like that.
Yeah.
I'll come back in about